the enemy got into Gaza, our people will fight from one street to the next, from one house to the other, and on every inch of the land.
The exiled leader of Hamas talking tough, as you heard at the top of the program, also with harsh words for Barack Obama. The fighting in Gaza, just one more item on the plate for the president-elect, facing quite literally a world of trouble. More now on that from Samantha Hayes.
As the president-elect packs for Washington, he may want to pack a shovel because the problems are piling up. Top of the heap, the Middle East. Today, a Hamas leader took direct aim at Obama, saying his silence on Israel's air offensive is unacceptable.
Mr. Obama, your beginning is not good. Enough of your double standards.
Then there's the economy. Obama wants Congress to have a stimulus plan ready to go on day one. But Senate Republicans, who still have the power to block action, are in no mood to rubber stamp it. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell Friday warned Republicans will hold Obama to his campaign promise to go through the federal budget page by page, line by line, eliminating those programs we don't need and insisting that those we do operate in a sensible, cost-effective way should apply to this. Translation, rush us and we'll hit the brakes.
This is critical for Barack Obama. It's his first big test. Is he going to be a truly different kind of leader, or is he going to do what the Democrat leaders want, which is sign this bill?
And then there's the standoff over what to do over Obama's old office, an embarrassment and a distraction at the worst possible time. The man Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich named to the seat insists he's coming to Washington, whether Senate Democrats want him there or not.
I am currently the junior senator for the state of Illinois.
How this drama plays out is anyone's guess, but it has the potential to get ugly. The spectacle of a man who would be the Senate's sole African-American being refused entry to the Senate chamber, barred at the door, is something no one wants to see.
One of the things the Senate can do, I don't know if they will, is seat someone with prejudice, which is a legal term where they can seat this person, this senator, but they could revoke if it proves to be tainted or illegal in some way.
A wild card? Blagojevich himself. If Blagojevich decides to do some in-person lobbying for his guy, he, like any other governor, will have to be admitted, though Blagojevich says he has no plans to go to Washington. A full-fledged foreign policy crisis, pushback from congressional Republicans on a desperately needed stimulus, and the soap opera over his seat, all before Mr. Obama has even hit the ground. Samantha Hayes, CNN, Washington.
Oh, welcome back to Washington. We're going to talk about it, the challenges facing President-elect Obama with her. Errol, what kind of a position does this put Barack Obama in? And we heard the exiled Hamas leader basically throwing down the gauntlet to the president-elect.
Well, it certainly throws away all of his plans. I mean, he had a nice first day in office laid out for us where...
The economy.
Well, he was going to tell the generals, I want a plan today for how we withdraw from Iraq, and that was going to be the whole foreign policy agenda, and then he was going to turn to the economy. Clearly, that's not going to happen. He's going to have a crisis on his hands from day one.
Carrie, how does Obama deal with this, or do we know how Obama is going to deal with this differently than the Bush administration? I mean, Bush has clearly been blaming Hamas. Will Obama do the same?
Well, throughout the campaign, we did hear him talk about recalibrating the peace negotiations in terms of coming in with a more balanced approach. But he's also pretty much indicated that he will follow, he's a strong supporter of Israel. He went to Israel over the summer and said, as we all know, if he were in Israel and missiles were raining down on his house, he believes that Israel has the right to defend itself. So he's given indications that he will try to change the balance a bit in peace negotiations. But in terms of a 180 shift, I would say we shouldn't be looking for that.
It certainly, though, seems, Joe, that this will be more on the front burner than it has been for the Bush administration. The Bush administration, especially for the first couple of years, I mean, it was basically hands-off on this.
Absolutely. They definitely have to deal with it. They don't have any choice. You sort of take the world as it is when you get sworn in. On the other hand, they cannot put the economy on the back burner. It's pretty clear that Barack Obama is going to meet on Monday with the bipartisan congressional leaders to talk about that. They're going to have to deal with that. They're going to have to deal with Israel and all the other things that come. Might as well start juggling things early, because this is the way the world is right now.
I want to get to Caroline Kennedy in a second, but I also want to talk about what's going on with Blagojevich. Carrie, the president-elect is moving to Washington this weekend, just as his would-be successor, Roland Burris, arrives on Capitol Hill to try to get seated in the new Congress. This is kind of surreal. How much of a distraction is this Burris situation going to be for the Obama camp?
I mean, it's a sideshow for him. It's going to get headlines for a day at least. But the problems, as we're discussing right now, are so huge. He literally has crises at home and abroad. You're going to see headlines. You're going to see Roland Burris potentially showing up there. It will be a bit of a circus, but I think with so much else going on and so many other major discussions happening, that we're going to see the discussion move forward.
But, Joe, and we have a situation where the sergeant at arms in the Capitol says he will physically prevent Burris from entering.
Carrie's right. This is a sideshow. On the other hand, they need to get a negotiated agreement on this thing, because they want to get their message out. They're getting ready to have these new congressional majorities sworn in. They have important issues they have to deal with. They have to deal with the economy, 100 other issues out there, and we're faced with the notion of some 71-year-old man being, pushed, whatever, out on the Capitol steps. It's ridiculous. This is something that the Democrats don't need and don't want, and they need to fix it.
Errol, let's talk about Caroline Kennedy. AP reporting 2 sources close to Governor Patterson say this is all but a done deal.
Well, that is based on a reading of New York politics in which everybody has decided to back off. The governor, David Patterson, has made clear in no uncertain terms it's going to be his decision. He's tired of all the speculating. He's tired of all the jockeying. He's tired of all the favor-seeking that's going on. He doesn't want it played out. He doesn't want it played out in the press. Of course, the real answer is going to be for him to actually name somebody, and he can't do that until this complicated dance takes place in which Hillary Clinton resigns and is appointed and approved as Secretary of State. So we've got this whole chain of events that are all stacked up there.
So what's the timeline?
Well, as far as I can tell, it's going to be up to Hillary Clinton. She's got to give her letter of resignation. There's got to be a vacancy. At that point, says the governor, he'll name somebody. And then and only then will we know really who it is. He's really playing his cards very close to the vest.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Errol, good to have you on as well. Errol Lewis, Carrie Budoff Brown as well, and Joe Johns. Thanks very much. Have a great weekend, everyone. Still ahead tonight, the future.